Hello, my peeps. How are you? It is Thursday, and it's a new episode of Chit Chat of Chattingz with Bernie. I'm your host, Bernie Dean, and welcome. We're on episode 42, so we're just chugging along slowly. It's been a beautiful day. If you're tuning in for the first time, we stream live every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube at 9 p.m. And after streaming, all videos are posted on my YouTube channel, Chattingz with Bernie. So a few of the topics that we'll be discussing tonight is the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. We're doing a recap of that. We're going to touch on Nick Cannon and his procreation status. We're going to touch on Kourtney Kardashian. We're touching on Marc Anthony. We're touching on the teacher situation in Jamaica and a few other topics. So if you're interested, tune in and let's have a conversation. Anyways, like I said, we stream live every Thursday. So let me know if you can hear me. Drop a comment, say hi, don't be shy, but most importantly, let me know that you can hear me so that I know that my audio is working properly. So yes, and as usual, we are going to start with our entertainment section. And we're going to start with Britney Spears. She announced earlier this week that she lost her baby. That she announced earlier this week that she lost her pregnancy. She had a miscarriage. They made her and Sam made a statement about the situation on Instagram, and if you all remember, it was about a month or so ago that they posted also on Instagram that they were pregnant, and they've since come out and stated that they had a miscarriage over the last couple of weeks, and they're sad about it. And it's always sad to lose a child, but and for those who have been following the situation with her for the past few years, her conservatorship was was canceled late last year. So, since then she got engaged and was pregnant. Under the conservatorship, she wasn't able to do any of those things without her dad's permission. So, sad for her and Sam, but hopefully they'll be able to try again and bring the baby to fruition. Alrighty. So we're going to move on to Marc Anthony, J-Lo's ex-husband, who is once again engaged to be married. This time, the 53-year-old singer is engaged to 23-year-old model Nadia Ferreira. They didn't really announce the engagement. She just showed up with the ring. And apparently it was a part of her 23rd birthday celebration, which was earlier this week. They're stating that the now fiancée is from Paraguay and started her career in the TV industry at 15 years old. She's won titles like Miss Teen Universe Paraguay in 2015 and Miss Universe Paraguay in 2021. The man seems to have a likes and a love for beauty queens. So congratulations to the couple. Moving on, Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker said I do for real this time. A couple of months ago, they had done a little thing in Vegas, got Elvis to do a little thing, an Elvis impersonator. And now they got married for real in California. They tied the knot last Sunday in Santa Barbara, and there's some reports stating that not all of the family members were there, but her grandmother was there and a few other people that were close to her. They drove off in a low-ride convertible with a just married sign on it and everything. So, congrats to them. It's her first marriage, and I think it's his second or third. It's either his second or his third marriage. Okay, and I'm gonna touch on Jamaica a little bit. Rapper Gucci Mane and his wife Keisha Kayor celebrated their fifth wedding anniversary recently and decided to do so in Jamaica. For those who don't know, Keisha is Jamaican. She's from St. Thomas, so she typically goes down on a yearly basis, really, to you know, spend some time in Jamaica. And on this trip, while she was there, she had a concert. It's called a Kayor Cares event. Beanie Man was one of the performer on the stage. A few other people performed. She performed as well. She's also, she did a tour. She usually highlights the different areas where she's been and all of that stuff, and highlighted houses that she's built for different family members and stuff like that. And also there's a little guy by the name of Jermaine who lost his mother recently. She indicated that she would be responsible for all his financial needs. As long as he stays in school, she'd be able to help him financially and stuff like that. So, good looking out for her, and good thing that she's doing for her community. Hey Colleen, how are you? How are things going? Let me know if you can hear me. See you coming in on YouTube, so let me know if you can hear me. We're going to touch on Nick Cannon. And the report goes that superfather Nick Cannon will possibly be ending his baby making tour as he's thinking about getting a vasectomy. The 41-year-old entertainer, who is currently expecting his 8th kid with, I think, probably baby mama number 6, talked about his plans in a recent interview. The actor and entrepreneur said that although he feels truly blessed with the gifts of children, he shared that he would eventually take a break from making more babies. He explained, "I don't know if I would have designed it this way, but it's one of those things when you're blessed with the gifts of children, and as we all know, I've been through so much. I find solace, I find peace in my children, and I find purpose." He went on to say, "So I'm not out here looking," he added. "I already went and got my vasectomy consultation. I ain't looking to populate the earth completely, but I'm definitely looking forward to taking care and loving all the children that I currently have." So I think this would be baby number 9 because 1 died, so he would have 7 alive, 1 died. So yeah, this would be baby number 9. But hey, the man can afford it, and if people want to go lie down and get impregnated by him just because, who am I to tell them not to do that? And congratulations are in order for Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. It was announced today that they had a baby boy a few days ago. The official announcement came out today. So congrats to her and him. Apparently the baby boy was born in LA on May 13th. So congrats to them. So, as you all know, Johnny, if you've been watching me, you would know that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, they both have defamation trial. They've got a defamation trial going on. They're both suing each other. Johnny sued Amber for 50 mil. Amber suing Johnny for 100 mil. This is week 6 of the trial. So there was 4 weeks for the trial previously. Last week they did nothing because the judge wasn't able to be in court because of a conflict. And then this week they're back. So just going to go and do a little bit of breakdown of what happened in court this week. Today was the last day of court for this week. They don't normally do court on Fridays for that particular trial. And then next Monday, the trial will start again. Next week is the final week for the trial. And then they'll do their closing arguments and stuff. So just going to do a recap. Amber was on the witness stand on Monday and Tuesday. That cross was done by Camila Vasquez. That was brutal. It was brutal. Like, it's like each time Amber was trying to think of what to say. You know, when the lawyer said, you know, you didn't donate you didn't donate your settlement. I said I pledged it. I didn't say I donated it. So Amber doesn't know the difference between pledging and donating. Pledging means that you have an intent to give. Donating means that you've actually given. The fact that Amber lied on multiple occasions about actually giving the monies to the two organizations that she stated that she would give them to is a big deal, and is a part of the trial situation that makes her look like a liar, because they're basically saying, okay, if you lied so many times about this important thing, that means you're lying about other things. You know, so just going to touch a little bit on the parties that were on the witness stand this week, their relation to Amber, and you know, some of the things that they had to say about what happened, who saw what, who didn't see anything, and all of that. You know, and the thing that I find interesting is, other than Amber and her sister, no one else has ever seen Johnny hit Amber. In the times where Amber has claimed that Johnny has hit her, even while he was wearing his rings and stuff, and he's hit her and the police came, they didn't see bruises. Only Amber and occasionally Whitney, Amber's sister, saw bruises. So it's a lot of cases of Amber and Whitney said, but the other people, they haven't seen anything for themselves, even though some of them were practically living with Amber and Johnny. They never saw anything. They can't corroborate. Most of what they're stating is because Amber said, or they heard. And, you know, so all of that was part of the situation. So they called Ayo Tillett Wright, who was friends with Amber during the relationship with Depp. Case in point, Ayo and Amber are no longer friends. They called Raquel Pennington, who was a friend of Amber at the time when Amber was in a relationship with Johnny. Raquel and Amber are no longer friends. They called Josh Drew, who is Raquel Pennington's ex. Josh and Raquel are no longer together. Josh and Amber are no longer friends. Whitney Enrique is Amber's sister. Elizabeth Mars and Amber were friends during the period of time when Amber was with Johnny. They are no longer friends. Melanie Iglesias is the former makeup artist for Amber. They were friends. They're no longer friends. Christina Sexton is Amber's former acting coach. She lives now, if I recall, I think she lives in Australia. However, she's no longer friendly with Amber. So there's a pattern. Pretty much nobody is currently friendly with Amber. And a couple of the reasons that came up why they're no longer friendly with Amber is the fact that they said that it's too much to be her friend. Where they break it down to say, okay, it was all consuming. She wanted you to be her friend and you couldn't be anybody else's friend or have time to be friendly with anybody else because she wanted all of your attention and she wanted you to be her friend solely. A couple of them said it just got to be a point where, yeah, I can't be bothered with that, and I'm moving on. It was interesting to hear Melanie Iglesias, the former makeup artist, stating, I told her that I couldn't be her makeup artist anymore and I couldn't be her friend anymore because it was just too much. and I didn't have it in me to be her friend because it was too much. So it was quite interesting. Christina Sexton, who was the acting coach, said it was hard to get Amber to cry during their sessions. She also said that she, had to make time, billing extra time to work with Amber because she was most of the time late coming, always angry. There was always some fight or some things going on with her and Johnny. One thing is consistent is that most people said that her and Johnny fought all the time, verbally. The other thing that's not consistent is that there's nobody to say, yes, I saw Johnny hit Amber. The makeup artist Melanie Iglesias explained how she covered injuries on Heard's face before a December 2015 appearance on The Late Late Show with James Corden in the 2021 video deposition. Iglesias said she saw bruising around Heard's nose and eyes that looked like someone may have headbutted her, as well as a bloody lip. And she was given the breakdown of the different types of makeup that she used and the different types of concealers and such. I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I don't know these things, but she was breaking down with the blue undertone and the peachy undertone and the orangey undertone and all of that thing and how all of that factored in. Elizabeth Mars, who is an acquaintance of her, testified through a 2019 video deposition on Wednesday about being present during the couple's May 2016 argument. Mars said she was with Raquel Pennington, who was close friends with her at the time and living in the neighboring penthouse. So they broke that down, that there was 5 penthouses and Johnny owned all 5. Penthouse 3, 4, and 5, Johnny and Amber lived in that one. I think penthouse 1, Raquel and Josh Drew lived in that one. And I think penthouse 2, Amber's sister lived in penthouse 2. And then penthouse 3 was Amber's closet area was in there. And then they had, so, they were all living together. Said that she was living in the penthouse when they heard, arguing down the hall. She said she heard the sounds of raised voices and destruction before Depp abruptly opened the door to a room she was in. 2 men were with him, Mars said, and she assumed they were his security guards. Whitney Enriquez said on Wednesday that she supported her sister's efforts to salvage her marriage to Depp. During cross-examination, Enriquez said she was known as a marriage counselor to the former couple. Enriquez said she always wanted to support her sister and recalled an instance when Heard was disappointed that Depp didn't join them at a music festival a day after an alleged fight in 2016. Whitney Henriquez recounted her experience with a March 2015 argument between her sister Amber Heard and Depp that escalated, alleging that she was struck by Depp during the incident. That particular incident, there's conflicting stories about who was where and what exactly happened, because Amber said she saw Johnny acting as if he was gonna hit Whitney and she got in between them. Whitney stated that Johnny pushed her or something and Amber got in between them and hit Johnny and then the position on the stairs of who was where conflicted as well. Also, the fact that the other parties, the stories that they heard from Amber regarding that situation differs. So each person has a slightly different story of what happened during that incident. Josh Drew is a former husband of Raquel Pennington and testified that Depp screamed and cursed at him in May 2015. Drew had lived in the same downtown Los Angeles building as Depp and Heard when he said he heard Depp smashing a bottle of wine in the hallway. He came in, caught eyes with me right away, and beeline for me, screaming, cursing, spitting in my face. But the way he explained it, it wasn't actually spitting, but because he was screaming and such, spittle was, coming out of his mouth, ended up in his face. So, yeah. He said, I walked calmly to leave. Depp's angry words were gibberish, according to Drew. Depp got close enough for it to be aggressive, he said. Josh Drew, who cooked for Heard's 30th birthday dinner, recounted what he remembered of the event. Johnny was hours late, and Amber spent the better part of the evening making excuses for him. He came very obviously intoxicated and put on a show for everybody. Raquel Pennington, who was close friends with her at the time of her relationship with Depp, testified that she walked into a loud altercation between the former couple in May 2016. He was yelling, Pennington said, of the incident, and she was calling for help, and that had never happened before, and saying, help, help, help me. Pennington said that she immediately got in between the two. They also claimed that Johnny tore out a patch of hair out of Amber's head. The nickname that they had for Johnny was calling him a monster, because they claimed that whenever he drank, he was, very angry. He got very aggressive and all of those stuff. But for some reason, there's always a recording that Amber did. There's always a recording, but the question that came up is like, if Johnny tore your hair out of your head, why didn't you report him to the police or charge him with assault? Or if he battered you that much, why didn't you charge him? I mean, police have gone to their house and they left without filing charges and such, because they said that they didn't see Amber injuries. They didn't see any marks on her that would require them to file charges. She never pressed any charges and stuff. But one of the constant thing is that I noticed in the recordings that they played was that when Johnny is trying to leave Amber, like if they're upset and they're arguing and he's trying to leave the house or to leave to go to another house, she's not allowing him to do that. And you can hear, like, she's not allowing him to leave. And even though, like, he's begging her, to just let me go, she's not allowing him to leave and such. One of the things that Amber claimed was that Johnny penetrated her with a bottle. Again, she did not report it to the police. Johnny's lawyer, Camille Vasquez, she was very, very good in her cross of Amber. Amber does not make a good witness at all. And then, the stories, the different ways of how everyone is telling the story, there's a different version. And what's interesting is as I said, a lot of Amber's friends, when she was dating Johnny, and they're not Johnny's friends, these are actually Amber's friends, they're no longer friendly with Amber. They're no longer friendly with her. But it's interesting to note that each one stated that she reached out to them just prior, a week prior, or a couple of months prior, a month prior to them giving their deposition. And the interesting thing about it is most of them gave their deposition via video. Like, her sister was the only one that came in and was actually in court on the stands, but everybody else gave their deposition via video. So they also brought in the knife that Amber gave to Johnny as a gift, and it's a very big knife. The question again was, why would she give, if she was so afraid of him or whatever, why would she give him that knife for his birthday? And she flippantly said, oh, he wasn't going to use it to kill me, so it didn't matter and stuff. So it's quite interesting. It's like watching a movie where you see the car accident that's going to happen. You're watching it and you're actually not believing that you're seeing and hearing what you're seeing and hearing. But the question that I keep asking over and over and over again is, she's famous, he's famous. She's making money, he's making money. she was doing decent before him, and she could do better without him, because I mean, they have proven that she cheated on Johnny in Johnny's penthouse with James Franco. They have proven that she cheated with Elon Musk in Johnny's penthouse, you know. And all of the abuse and all of the things that she's going through, all of that happened before they got married. Why would you still get married? Why would you still go through with all of that if you knew that the person took drugs, you knew that they drank a lot, and when they drink and they took drugs, it's a whole different person that you're marrying or that you're knowing? Like, why would you still marry the person? You know somebody's gonna beat you, and yet you decide to then get engaged, get beaten during the engagement, and then still get married and then get beaten after the... That don't make sense. That does not make... I never understood that part. I never understood how that makes sense. But that's what they did. Like I said, the trial is finished for this week. They'll pick it up back again Monday. I will give you an update next week to, you know, let you know what's happening and who's gone, who's gonna do what. Interesting to note is that each side only had 60 hours each. Yes, so 60 hours each. So far, Amber's team has used 58 hours, and Johnny's team has used 42 hours. So Johnny's team has 18 hours left to use in the trial, and Amber's team only have 8 hours left. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage to use those time over the next week, Amber's team, because they still have people to call. You know, if Johnny's team does cross, they can't redirect, and they won't be able to effectively redirect and do their cross and stuff next week. So we'll see how that goes. But you know, that's the breakdown of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's trial this week, and I'll keep you guys updated as to what's gonna happen next week. Moving on to the sports section. So to my Maple Leaf fans, I am convinced that the Maple Leaf have first rounditis. They have not gotten out of the first round in the last 6 or 7 years. I swear them have first rounditis. It's like, I got to the first round, I'm good, I don't need to go no further. And it, you know, to the dreamers who every year for the past 55 years, next season will be a better season, because this season is over. The Maple Leafs crushed the fans' dreams again, so we'll see. Next season, they'll try again. And we'll see if they get to see, you know, in the 56th year, if something will happen. If they could at least get to the second round, that'd be quite interesting. So we'll see what happens. Toronto FC not doing so good. They lost their last game against Orlando 1-0. What's interesting to note is that the last two games that they played, they lost those games either in the final minute or the extra time session. So, and the other interesting thing is that they haven't won a game on the road in their last like 13, 14 games. So that's crazy, or maybe even more. But it's not looking so good for them right now. I think they're 12th in their conference. There's 14 teams in the Eastern Conference and they're number 12. So not looking so good. They're going to have to step it up, win more games, and, you know, do better. Blue Jays didn't play today. They were on a bit of a slump lately. They played Seattle yesterday. They lost to Seattle yesterday, but they actually won that series because they won the two games before. but in their last 10 games, they've probably only won about 3 games. So they've been struggling lately. They're going to be playing the Cleveland Guardians tomorrow. Let's hope that they'll start back on their winning game and, start doing the do so that they can go back. I think they're third now in their division, so they need to move up. Yankees is 1, and I think Tampa Bay is 2. So yeah, Leafs need to step up the thing. If you've just joined me, say hi, say hello. Don't be shy, don't be a stranger. Chime in with your comments and such, and let's have some good chats. Anyways, still in sports, Vin Blaine officially tendered his resignation as a Jamaican national women's football coach. His job came under scrutiny recently after 20 members of the Reggae Girls squad signed a letter to Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts, demanding that he be replaced because of concerns regarding coaching, communication, and organization. Last week, the JFF board said investigations found insufficient evidence to warrant any dismissal and accepted its technical committee's recommendation to retain Blaine and his technical staff. During his time in charge, he led the girls to 4 straight victories in Group C of the CONCACAF Women's Qualifying, scoring 24 goals and conceding just 2. However, JFF has accepted his resignation, saying it wished him all the best in his future endeavors. And good news to Miss Veronica Campbell Brown. She recently announced that she is pregnant with child number 2. And she also made the announcement on her 40th birthday. So congrats to the former sprint queen, this former Jamaica Olympian sprinter, and her husband Omar and her firstborn Ariana. She was the first woman to win 3 track medals in 3 consecutive Olympic Games, 2 golds and a bronze in Athens in 2004, 1 gold in Beijing in 2008, and 2 silvers in Sydney in 2000. She is considered to be one of the most successful Caribbean female athletes of all time. So congrats to Veronica and Omar on the upcoming birth of their second child. And we are going to we're still in the sports section. We're going to touch on Miss Sha'Carri Richardson, Miss number 9. So as usual, there's always some type of controversy around this particular person. The first one, when people started knowing more about her, was when she tested positive for marijuana and her time was disqualified. She didn't make the Olympics because she was suspended temporarily for that situation. She was supposed to go to Kenya to run in a race against Shelly Ann a couple of weeks ago. She didn't go for whatever reasons. Now she's back in the news again. And it's not because of what she's doing on the track. It's not because she won a race or she's going to enter into a competition or she had a good training, that you could say, okay, things are going fair, I shall come back good. Oh no. This time she came out to say that her Jamaican ex-girlfriend treated her terribly, as well as abused her and stole from her. Emphasis on the Jamaican, because she could have easily said her girlfriend, but no. She wanted it to be known that it was a Jamaican, because the notion is that because Jamaica is a homophobic country, she claims that she's been protecting this person during the time that they were together by not, putting out information and such. But now that they're no longer together, she could do so, and she did so in a very derogative manner, stating that the athlete stole from her and abused her during the relationship. And she talks now that she's healing from the pain, from the breakup pain and trauma, and she, and all of that kind of situation. The interesting fact about that is, I'm not going to call the athlete's name because the athlete really didn't come out and say anything to confirm or deny that they were in a relationship together, since there have been some old videos that have shown up of the athlete making some speeches or whatever, but based on the length of the locks and stuff, we know those are old pictures because her locks are longer now. So she has not come out to defend herself or to make any comments about what Sha'Carri has said, so I'm not gonna talk about her or bring up her name, because one of the main reasons for Sha'Carri to come out with this is because the ex left her. And as a part of her revenge against the ex is to out the ex to Jamaica. Then that, let's just say that that's what it boils down to, is that she wanted to out the ex to Jamaica. That's where it is. That's what it boils down to, right? So that's why she came out and said what she said, because she's being revengeful against the ex and all of that. And she claims that she was protecting the ex from the judgment of her country and family. But because the Jamaican people were dragging her, she chose to then put out the fact that that particular athlete is gay. So Sha'Carri needs help. She's battling some things. Her family needs to do something. They need to take her to some psychiatrist or do something. Man, she needs help. She need help. So, dear Sha'Carri, please get help, because a foolishness here. Foolishness you're doing, but hey, it is what it is. And that's the sports section. The sports section are normally that festive, but lots of story came up and just had to touch on a few of them. So now we're going to go into the news section, and we're going to start in Jamaica. So Katie and Russell, who was the mastermind behind the scheme to defraud a loan agency of more than $12 million JMD, was recently sentenced to a total of 37 years in prison. However, Russell, who has 5 children, including a 1-year-old, will serve 3 years, as most of the sentences will run concurrently. So you go from getting a total of 37 years in total sentencing to just having to serve 3 years, and based on everything else, you'll probably be out in a year and a half. Cadian is among 5 persons who pled guilty last December to deceiving a financial institution in order to get a combined $12.5 million in loan. Russell repeatedly received $8 million in loans, but to date only repaid $1.2 million. She pled guilty to 4 counts of uttering a forged document, to which she was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment at hard labor on each count. Those sentences will begin at once, which means that she will only serve 18 months. Russell will serve 2 years imprisonment at hard labor for each of the 14 counts of obtaining credit by fraud. That sentence will also run concurrently. She was also ordered to repay the remaining $6.9 million for the 2 counts of forgery. She has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. However, that sentence will begin after she has served 1 year imprisonment for a conspiracy to defraud. Also, on the same day that she was being sentenced, the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court heard that Russell, while on bail for the offenses for which she was being sentenced, committed other fraud-related offenses. A fraud queen. A fraud queen. Because while she out and other things, she a fraud queen. It was reported that on March 4, 2022, Russell, using the name Marcia Thompson, pretended that she had apartments for rent, collecting $180,000 and $160,000 respectively from two complainants. Russell pled guilty to obtaining money by false pretense and is to be sentenced on July 11th. Meanwhile, despite a plea from her attorney, who opted Marshall for leniency, senior parish judge Lorianne Cole Montague made it clear that Russell will have to spend time behind bars. It was reported that between December 2020 and September 2021, the loan agency received 25 applications, including requests for loans from the defendants, one of whom is a former corporate area prep school teacher. In support of the loan applications, the applicants presented job letters and salary slips purportedly obtained from a corporate area prep school. The loans were approved and disbursed to each applicant savings account of their financial institutions. It was later discovered that one of the 5 persons before the court was an employee of the educational institution and that job letters and salary slips submitted were forged. The court heard that Russell submitted applications in other names amounting to an excess of 15 names. At so much time she want to go apply for something. Boy, I tell you. Anyways, we're going to circle around to Florida, and a 2-year-old girl in Florida weighing less than 10 pounds, which is 4.5 kilograms, died of long-term starvation, and her parents were arrested on child abuse charges. Regis Johnson, age 57, and Aranda Tillman, age 35, were arrested by the Polk County Sheriff. Grady Judge said they were being held without bond. When deputies responded to a call about an unresponsive child, they found the girl dead in an inflatable pool being used as a playpen. Autopsy determined that the 9.5-pound girl had an empty stomach and had died from long-term starvation. I don't understand parents. I don't understand them people. Judge said the child's pediatrician told detectives they were concerned that she might have cystic fibrosis, and the officer tried to reach her parents numerous times since her last visit in January 2020. The father told detectives the child had not wanted to eat much in the 2 days before her death. The mother said she tried to feed her a turkey sandwich, but the girl did not eat. The father told detectives that she could crawl but not walk, and he knew that she was not gaining weight and not developing as normal. I don't even know where to take this, because people at the DSA, the DCF had, gone to the house and they had the parents under investigation and stuff, but they stated that once the child started to gain weight and the child seemed okay, they closed the file. And then nobody went back to the house. The parent decided to follow up with the doctors, and the parents never did. And they're saying that the child's 64-year-old uncle, Frank Robinson, who lived in the same house, was also arrested on charges of negligent child abuse and failure to report child abuse. So 3 adults in the house, and the little 2-year-old died of starvation. None of the 3 adults in the house not ensure so the little pitney eat. None of the 3 adults in the house no look after the little pitney. Can you imagine the autopsy said there was nothing in that kid's stomach? You know how long you have to go and eat without eating for there to be nothing in your stomach? Them my parents are not supposed to get bail. Them not supposed to ever come out of prison, because that's just crazy. But we're going to circle around to Jamaica, and not quite sure what's happening lately, but this past week and a half, there's been 8 teachers who have died in Jamaica. 8 within the past week and a half. Well, Gregory Williams, a maths teacher at Portmore Community College, died on May 11th. Antoinette Banton Ellis, who was the principal of the Vertec High School in Clarendon, died on May 12th. Anne-Marie Johnson Lindo, vice principal of Duncan's All-Aid School in Trelawney, died on May 12th. Carlos Gordon, a grade 6 teacher of One Way Prep School in Kingston, died on May 14th. Donna Lee Wright of Tarrant High School in St. Andrew died on May 16th. There was a teacher at Edwin Allen High School who died on the 17th. They didn't announce the name of that particular teacher. The vice principal of the Charlemont High School in St. Catherine, Jennifer Giddens, she died on May 18th. Apparently she was sick for a little while. And then Amosi Tomlinson was a teacher at Black River High School. It was announced that she passed away this morning. Like I said, between May 11th and today, May 19th, 1 week, 8 days, 8 teacher dead. That's crazy. So so there's all kinds of theory about what's causing the teachers to die, from vaccine to stress and all kind of other things. But it's not, you can't control death, and you can't control what sector death comes in, or whether police or teachers or nurses or whatever. But it has to be stressful for the kids, and it has to be stressful for the colleagues of those teachers. So our thoughts and prayers are with the various schools, and not much else that can be done or said about that. So we're going to go to Minneapolis, and one of the policemen that was involved in the killing of George Floyd, he pled guilty on Wednesday to the charge of aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter in the killing of George Floyd. He admitted that he intentionally helped restrain the black man in a way that created an unreasonable risk and caused his death. As a part of his plea agreement, the more serious charge of aiding and abetting second-degree unintentional murder will be dismissed. So all 4 policemen have already been convicted of the federal crimes. These are state crimes that their case are going through now. So it was both a federal case and a state case. All the federal portion of it, they've all been convicted on a federal level. So now there's some charges were state level, and that's so there's 2 more policemen to go to court on the state level, and we'll see what those are. But and then we don't know how his sentencing will be. So he will again, because he pled guilty, he may not get a life sentence. He may get like 7 to 15 years, if that, and will come out soon. And next week on the 25th will be 2 years since George Floyd was killed. Okay, so we're going to go to India. And I found this story quite interesting. So drop your comments. I'm going to read it. Drop your comments. Say hello, say hi. Share the live. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But in India, a retired Indian couple is suing their son and daughter-in-law, demanding that they produce a grandchild within a year or pay them 50 million rupees, which amounts to 675,000 USD. So Sanjeev Ranjan Prasad, who is a 61-year-old retired government officer, said it was an emotional and sensitive issue for him and his wife, Sadhana Prasad, and that they can no longer wait for their son, who is a pilot who's been married for 6 years, for that son to give them a grandchild. They're stating that they want a grandson or a granddaughter within a year, or they want compensation because he has spent his life earnings on his son's education. He said he spent 3.5 million rupees, which is 47,300 USD, for his son's pilot training in the United States. He said the main issue right now is that they need a grandchild, but these people, my son and daughter-in-law, have an attitude that they don't think about us. We got him married in the hope that we would have the pleasure of becoming grandparents. It has been 6 years since their marriage, Prasad said. It feels as if despite having everything, we have nothing. The court accepted their petition and scheduled it for a hearing on Monday in Haridwar City, a city in northern Uttarakhand state. The son and daughter-in-law could not be reached for comment. Prasad said he and his wife love children. We're not getting love and affection from where we want it the most. I feel very unlucky. Is there anyone that would sue their kid because the kid did not give them a grandchild? I don't understand. The man say want back his money when he spend on him pitney, and they want back the money when he spend on the pitney education, because the man's been married for 6 years and it don't look like he's getting a it don't look like he's getting a grandchild. He wants his money back. I never hear that yet. I never hear that yet. Throat dry. I never hear that yet. Yes, so you're suing your child because the child is married for 6 years and has never given you a grandchild. That's one for the books. We're going to circle around to Louisiana. And Louisiana security officer is suspected of helping 3 teen inmates escape from a youth detention center on Saturday. The Red River Parish Sheriff's Office posted on Facebook that it was notified shortly before 7 a.m. that the 3 inmates, all serving time for felonies, broke out of the Ware Youth Detention Center in Coshata, Louisiana. The facility is about 40 miles south of Shreveport in the northwest corner of the state and about 50 miles from the Texas border. Oncoming day shift employees discovered that 3 male juvenile residents, with help from a female security guard, had escaped the juvenile detention facility approximately 4 hours earlier. I don't understand what's up with these guards lately helping these delinquents coming out of jail. I don't escape it. I don't get it. The posted video surveillance captured security guard Victoria Tune, age 21, driving the three teens from the detention center in a white 2010 Pontiac G6 with a Louisiana license plate and a missing rear bumper. A woman on Facebook claims Victoria Tune's alleged involvement in the jailbreak is completely out of character for her. The escapees are Taiwan Lafitte, age 17, serving time for first-degree attempted murder; Jeremiah Durham, age 17, serving time for armed robbery; and 15-year-old Navarra Lane for attempted second-degree murder. And she, at age 21, decides she's not going to help not one, but 3 of them escape from jail. Let's hope that when they do find her, she's alive. Because the last one that helped a man escape from jail, she killed herself. So let's hope that when they do find her, because they will, that she's alive, and she's now gone from a good job at the prison to being on the other side of the prison bars. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. Angie said, this is nowadays. I think it is back in the days. People busy. Angie, the people them want grandchild. They want somebody to love. They want somebody to love and to love them. And they want back their money. But to touch on that, when they get back the money, what am I do with the money? Because they still won't have a grandchild. So what are they going to do with the money? Travel? Or just sit down with the money? So I don't understand. It makes sense. But moving on to Texas. Houston police are looking for a man accused of robbing and kidnapping his roommate. The incident took place at a home on Edo Place Circle on Mother's Day evening. And she said, go buy a child. All of them want to adopt me. According to Justin Iwuji, the suspect is a man who had been renting a room at his home for more than a year. I never expected anything like this to ever happen to me, said Iwuji, especially with someone I know in the comfort of my own home. So what's happening was, they're looking for the guy on screen. He shared a room with Justin Iwuji. He lost his job and he wasn't able to pay the rent, as he should. Justin asked for the rent money, said never have it, but then decide to move out. And if they were friends before they lived together, so that's why they ended up, he ended up sharing the apartment with Justin. Said that they'd been friends before. And, he missed a few rent payments. And because of that, the guy was going to move out of the house. On the day that they were supposed to move out of the house is the day that the man decides he will kidnap him friend. I mean, you have to tell bad things make jokes sometimes, but me not understand. They're saying that surveillance video from inside the home shows a man pointing a gun at Iwuji. The homeowner can be asking the gunman what's wrong. Iwuji said he grabs my cell phone, sitting on the island, and he walks around and unplugs the Ring camera. He then told me to go to the living room and get on my knees. He tossed a bandana over to me and told me to put it over my eyes. According to Iwuji, Deloach took several items from his home. Iwuji says his roommate stole jewelry, a firearm, and forced him to transfer $6,000 through a phone account. Eventually, Iwuji says his roommate had him tied up to a chair in a shower. Iwuji said he feared for his life. He said something along the lines of, "Any last words, or what do you have to say for yourself?" He also had a pillow in his hand as if he was going to shoot through the pillow to silence the gun. At some point he asked me, "Do you want to do this here or do you want to gamble?" Iwuji said, "I want to gamble." Iwuji was then forced into the rear cargo of his own vehicle and with his hands and feet bound. Deluge eventually parked the vehicle several miles from the location and instructed him not to move. After several minutes, Iwuji managed to exit the vehicle and flagged down a witness for assistance. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. A madman. Sometimes sometimes you read about some crime or you watch TV and you see some crime that people commit and you have to wonder why. Because it don't make sense. The act of the crime that you're committing does not make sense. Anyways, The Luch is still on the run. They haven't caught him yet. Iwuji, I don't know, but it don't make sense. But we're gonna go to Mississippi, and a judge has denied bond for the mother accused of killing her infant daughter. Michaela Shailene Jolie, age 20, made her initial appearance in court on Tuesday, May 17th. She was initially charged with attempted murder and felony child abuse. However, the charge was upgraded to upgraded the charge to attempted murder charge to capital murder after the daughter Khaleesi Lachey Jolie died on Saturday. So on May 12th, they were made aware of a woman who had repeatedly and forcibly thrown a baby on the road around 2 p.m. When officers arrived, they said another woman was holding the severely injured child. Emergency crews began first aid immediately, and Khaleesi was taken to the Children's Hospital of Mississippi, where she later died. Jolie also has a son, which they've since taken from her and placed in the custody of her grandmother. Sometimes you hear some things about things that people do to their kid, and you wonder why. What goes through your head? Like, she drop a baby on the road repeatedly. What goes through your head? Why not just carry the baby, drop it off at a hospital? Drop it off somewhere if you don't need the... Oh, man. So many people out there can't have kids. And then you have delinquents and degenerates like these having kids and killing them for no reason. It don't make sense. But we're going to circle around to New York. And hundreds of people packed a small upstate funeral home Saturday to remember Edward Wilkins, who was shot to death by the NYPD officer, husband of his lover. Wilkins, aged 20, was killed Sunday after Sean Armstead, aged 36, trailed his wife Alexandra Vanderhayden, aged 35, to a Wallkill hotel for her apparent rendezvous with Wilkins. See, now this instance, I don't understand. Why kill the man? The man don't have nothing to do with you. And the woman got cheat. Not that you should kill anybody, but why kill the young boy? I don't understand. Investigators said that it was a murder-suicide because he eventually killed himself. So what he did, followed his wife to the hotel, waited for them to be finished. Then he apparently chased down the guy, hit the 20-year-old's car with his car, and that's where he shot him multiple times before turning the gun on himself and killed himself. I don't understand. And apparently the 20-year-old Wilkins, he was a worker with the wife. The wife has a dog walking business, and he was one of the dog walker. But if you have, I honestly don't get this. If you have an issue, your wife is cheating, you deal with your wife. You don't deal with the man that your wife cheating with. That man has no obligation to you at all. You deal with your wife. Your wife is who made vows to you. You gonna kill a little boy, 20-year-old, him not lived a life yet. Don't have any kids yet, nothing. And you kill yourself, and yet you leave your wife available, who is now going to move on to another guy or 2 or 3. No sense at all. That don't make no sense. No sense. Stupidity. Man always are going like them one woman. Duh. Anyways, we're going to go around to Jamaica. And there was a report that came out recently with regards to, it was the statistics on crime in Jamaica. increase or decrease and all of that stuff. So up until May 14, the data show that since the start of the year, 21 more people have been killed when compared to the corresponding period in 2021. Apparently, as of May 14th, murders in Jamaica was at an all-time high, the high HIGH of 534 people. Apparently, St. Mary Police Division has the largest percentage increase with 18 murders being recorded over the period, up from 3 last year. So something now going up in St. Mary. They're stating that represents an increase of about 500%. St. James Police Division has seen the most killings across the 19 police divisions with 92 killings so far, whereas Portland has recorded the least with 4 homicides. St. James people, them scammer them down there, kill off themselves one by one, and so them can go and kill off themselves. They're saying that shootings, injured persons, rape, and robbery reports have declined. Break-ins, however, are up 68%. So murder up, break-ins up. Robbery, rape, and I guess overall shooting is down, and they didn't put traffic death in this, but again, traffic death is at an all-time high as well, because the people them just may not understand the driving in Jamaica, because it's like whenever I see a video or a picture of an accident, the car is always split to smithereens, like it's always pieces. You don't see no car get no little bump or no little, it's all them always mash up. I understand. But we're staying in Jamaica because last week it was a week of strikes. From National Water Commission to air traffic controller that backed up a lot of flights, that had a lot of flight cancels. National Housing Trust people, they went on strike for a day as well. Some firefighters went on strike. They demonstrated outside of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security offices. And, they're alleging that poor staff welfare and they need increase in pay and all of those situations. What also happened was that some of the firemen that went on strike or that were demonstrating, some of them have now been suspended from work. There's been no reason outlined as to why they were suspended. They haven't stated publicly anyways as to when those firemen will be back to work. But as of right now, 4 of the firefighters have been suspended from duty, and there was no reason given as to why those particular firemen were suspended from duty. But everybody in Jamaica go past strike now, so I understand. Anyways, we're coming back to Ontario. And if you've been living on a rock in Ontario and don't know, June 2nd is election day. It's the provincial election day because we had federal election last year. Provincial election day, June 2nd. So you must be 18 years of age and a Canadian citizen in order to be able to vote. And you have to be a resident of Ontario. And I think you also have to have lived in Ontario for a minimum of 12 months in order to be able to vote, to get on the elections list and to vote. If you have not yet received your voter identification card, you can request it online at elections.on.ca. You can also go on there to request early ballot so that you can do mail-in vote. I've already voted. I did that. I don't want to stand in line. It's easy. Fill in your address, upload the ID. I got my thing. I got my, I think I got it within about 2 to 3 days. I got it about 2 to 3 days. Did what I had to do. Send it back in. It's a prepaid envelope. No cost me nothing. Drop it off. Me done. So I've already voted in the elections. I'm done. Because I'm going to be busy during that day on June 2nd. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know I'm going to be busy. I've already voted. So if you haven't gotten your voter ID card, request it online at elections.on.ca. You will be asked to upload ID. You can either use your driver's license that shows your address, or you can use a passport that shows your citizenship or whatever. But they require government issue ID, and you can upload it. If you still haven't done any of that and June 2nd comes around and you still want to vote, you can still come out to vote. You will need to bring ID with you, and your ID will need to show your address. Also, you don't necessarily have to bring your passport, but it will be good to do so to show that you're a citizen. Okay. Again, elections.on.ca, when you punch in your address, it'll show you where you need to go to vote. Provincial election, it's all electronic, so when you do the voting, you stick it in the machine and it does everything for you. What else? The various politicians are going around, and so when election time comes, everybody goes around and promise you the world, from more highways to more hospital to more jobs to what else, all kind of more. Everybody promising you more of. Okay, so I don't care what party you vote for, just make sure you vote. Make sure the party you vote for will do something that aligns with what you like, what you want, what you wish to see. Me no want year on the sound on a vote and then on come back out and on have the most talk when things not going away. Mind you, you will still vote and things still not go your way a bit, but at the end of the day, at least you know your vote. So again, elections.on.ca, go up on the website, check out, get your things in the mail. If you don't want to go stand up in the line for vote, get it, send it, fill it in, send it in. You're good to go. It not cost you nothing other than a little time, because the envelope is prepaid. Okay? I'm not gonna. I've followed up a bit on what the different politicians are offering. Really and truly, I just have to hold my nose and vote for one, because none of them really not offer nothing what makes sense. Andrea Horvath, nah. Del Duca, nah. Dougie, again, them not really offer nothing. And the Green Party, I mean, honestly, you're voting for the Green Party is a waste of vote, because there's no way the Green Party is going to win and become the elected party of the province, because they don't have enough candidates around the province, so they won't win. And there's another political party. Is it New Blue? I think it's called New Blue Ontario or something of that. Me never know what for them platform is, or what them propose, or what newness you're getting or anything. So last year, the last election, Dougie promised dollar beer, and you all went and voted for dollar beer and got, apparently the dollar beer tastes bad, among other things. This time him started out with giving you the refund of your car sticker. Him started out with that. And then if you're living in the east, the toll road 412, it's free to drive on, and all of them something. So those were the freeness him started out by giving you people. So we'll see what happens after. And for those who think, because I saw an article where a guy got a ticket for $465 in Quebec, because he thought that because they were giving back the refund, he didn't have to renew the car sticker. So even though you're getting a refund for the past amount that you've paid since March 2020, even though you don't have to pay to renew your sticker, you still have to renew your sticker. You do not get a new sticker. They are not sending you a reminder in the mail. However, you still need to either apply online at Service Ontario or go to a Service Ontario outlet and renew your sticker. You still have to input your insurance information and all of that stuff, but do it online. I would suggest do it for 2 years, because I can tell you that if the PC provincial conservatives do not win and Liberal or NDP win, you will be going back to paying for your sticker. So if you do it for 2 years, at least you'll have a 2-year grace period where you know so you don't have to pay a fee. Yeah. But anyways, just go online. Don't say ignorance isn't bliss. Don't get a $400 ticket and then try to go to court to fight it. Because the same envelope that you got your refund in, that same envelope tells you that you still need to renew your sticker. That's my little rant. That's where I'm going. I'm leaving it right there in Ontario, and I'm going around to Vegas. Renew your plates. Yeah, renew the sticker on the plates. Yeah, the sticker you put on your plates. Yeah. Has to be done. Has to be done. So we're going to Vegas, and a judge has vacated the murder conviction of a 78-year-old Las Vegas woman who spent 20 years in prison for the 1994 killing of her millionaire husband until she was paroled in 2020. Margaret Rudin, the socialite antique shop owner, was found guilty in 2001 of murdering the death of real estate mogul Ron Rudin. Prosecutors said he had been shot in the head as he slept in the couple's home and that his body was dumped in the desert. But U.S. District Judge Richard Bulwer ruled on Sunday that Margaret Rudin received ineffective legal representation from her late defense attorney Michael Amador. Rudin apparently maintained her innocence all along. I will be 79 years old at the end of this month, so I'm very, very grateful. She was indicted in 1997 in what authorities portrayed as a crime committed for financial gain. Rudin vanished before her indictment and spent 2 years as a fugitive until a tip generated by a television program that focused on the case led to her arrest in 1999 in Massachusetts. So she spent 20 years in a prison because her lawyer did not represent her properly. And him is not even around. No fish is sue him. And they have not yet decided whether or not they're going to retry her for the case. So she's still not out of the woods yet, even though she has been paroled, but should be interesting. So we're going to go back to Jamaica, because this story was a little bit sad. Well, very, very sad. So there was a funeral. Was it Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday. There was a funeral that got shot up in Jamaica in Meadowvale, and one of the persons that got killed was Shanice Dean. Now, Shanice Dean was the sister of Ananda Dean. Now, in Jamaica, they have what's called an Ananda alert. And that's issued when a child is abducted from the family. And that was put in place after the abduction and murder of Ananda Dean. Now, imagine being the father where one child was abducted and murdered, and 14 years later another child is murdered while innocently attending a funeral. That's crazy. That is crazy. The man, they just drove up to the funeral, and they just opened fire because apparently somebody that they wanted to kill was there, and she got hit and she was killed, and there were 2 other people that were injured. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. You can't, not even funeral is safe at. Not safe at funeral at all. You go funeral and imagine being the father that you get the phone call, your daughter go funeral and your daughter not leaving the funeral, not leaving the cemetery because them kill her right there. Innocently. Crazy. But we're going to leave Jamaica and go around to Buffalo. And this particular situation made international news because one little white boy decides that he may not take it upon himself to leave his house to drive 3.5 hours to go to another county to kill black people. Now imagine you can't even go grocery store proper. If you go do your groceries without having to think if somebody will come in, they come shoot you because you're black. And I saw the video of, because he live streamed it, and I saw the video, and the one that got me was the one where the white guy was on the ground and he comes in shooting, and because the white guy spoke and he looked down when he was about to shoot, he looked down, saw that he was a white guy, said sorry, left him alive, and went on to kill 10 people and injured many others. People who just decide to go grocery store for whatever reason. One lady said she dropped off her sister-in-law at the grocery store for the little groceries. We go back, go pick her up. Within 5 minutes after, the sister-in-law dead. 86-year-old mother dead. Grandmothers. People going about their Saturday business. Imagine we are in a no frills, a shop or in a Walmart or Food Basic, and somebody literally come in, they come say them a shoot because you're black and you get rid of all black people. And the narrative that the media is now putting out, yes, it's a hate crime, but we need to understand why it's a hate crime. We need to understand what happened to him, why he did what he did. Who cares? Innocent black people, what black kids walking along, they do not get that option. Innocent black people going about their business, Sandra Bland driving and going about, she didn't get that option. This boy get the option of going into the store, shooting how many people, and actually was able to go to jail because he's still alive, because they did not kill him. Because, again, he's been indoctrinated to think that black people are taking over the world. And oh my God, how bad it is that black people are going to take over the world. And oh my God, we cannot have this. So we have to kill black people because we can't have them taking over the world. We can't be minorities. You can't imagine white people are so afraid of being considered a minority that they are killing you in anticipation of not being a minority. So what we as minorities supposed to do? Imagine living a life where you're afraid of your fellow man because you don't know what they will do. Imagine living a life as a white person where you're thinking that, oh my God, I don't want to be what I hate. I hate black people and I hate that they're a minority and I don't want to be a minority. So I am going to go out and kill as many of them as possible because I don't want to be a minority. I am going to kill as many of them as possible so that there are less black people around. Right? And that falls under what they call the great replacement theory. Because white people are afraid, or that particular white person are afraid that black people are going to be replacing them. That black people will replace them and become majority. Now, would it be so bad? What is it that a white person can do now that they would not be able to do if the roles were reversed? So it's just been, and it's funny because it's something that, shooting happened, people die, we're going to move on to the next thing. We'll talk about it for a day, maybe two, maybe talk about it for a week, and then we'll move on to the next thing, and then more shooting and more killing. And we'll talk about it for maybe a day or two and then move on to the next thing, because that's what happened. That's what happened. And that's what happened in Buffalo on Saturday. And I'm going to move on to California, because that's what happened in California a few years ago. Where, again, it was another racist killing. It was another man walking into a Taiwanese church and opening fire on the congregation. It was only one doctor that had died in that particular instance because of the swift action of the people in the church. But again, you're killing the other. You're not white, so you have to die. This again was targeted because of race. So right now the trial of that is going on, and it boils down to the fact that, again, a white person took it upon themselves to go into the church to kill somebody who doesn't look like him. And so that person may go to jail, but he'll still be alive to eat and drink and live a long life until they decide to kill him on death row, while the families are going to be mourning the loss of their loved one forever. Life no fear. So we're going to go to Jamaica. A usually peaceful night of games among friends was shattered by gunmen last Friday along East Street in central Kingston, leaving 2 men dead. According to the police reports, about 8:45 p.m., a group of men were playing dominoes when a motorcycle drove up and the pillion opened fire on the group. When the shooting subsided, it was discovered that 4 of the men were shot and injured. They were taken to the Kingston Public Hospital, where Hugh Shearer Simpson, age 62, and Joseph Blacks Mitchell, age 64, succumbed to their injuries. Simpson was pronounced dead shortly after arrival, while Mitchell died on Sunday. Kevin play a good game of domino sit down on the road again, where man no come shoot you off of your bike. I don't get it. A survivor of Friday night's attack said he's counting his blessings after he narrowly escaped death. Sherry was sitting next to me and the bike man them pull up, and when the 2 first shot them fire, me really realize what really are going. The thing with the plastic chair where me sit down pan and get flat, me see blood on me and me start wonder when me get shot, he said. The man said a few seconds later he began looking for his friend and found Simpson, who was a carpenter, lying in a pool of blood. Him say me get shot and my foot them can't move. And the last thing me hear from him, me look and see blacks and see the blood impression in him back. Him a move but him never did attack, the man said. A shopkeeper who said he was close friends with Mitchell described the laborer as a jovial and helpful individual. That's crazy. The shopkeeper expressed shock at Mitchell's passing as when he visited him at the hospital, he appeared strong. He did have on oxygen when we visited him Saturday. Me all tell me say the nurse them have him key and phone. Me never know him would have dead. None of the man them who get shot are dead and never wrong doers. Them a big man and every day they so them they a play them little game until them go home. Innocent game, madam, and no people just ride up, shoot again. Crime, I don't understand. Gonna leave Jamaica, we're gonna go to Utah. And when I saw this story, it actually reminded me of I've always thought of this. And it's one of the things that when I go on the beach, you go up on the beach and people cover you, you lie down and people cover you in the sun. Can't do that to me. Because I always have this irrational fear that it's gonna collapse in and it's gonna drag me in and the sun gonna cover me and I'm gonna dead. I know. Me should know better. But hey, it's an irrational fear for a reason. So when I go beach, you can't cover me in the sun because that is where my mind go. And that is what happened to a 13-year-old Utah boy who died from his injuries a day after a sand dune he was digging in collapsed and buried him at a state park. The boy had been digging a tunnel into the dune at southern Utah's Coral Pink Sand Dune State Park when it collapsed on him Saturday evening. A family member alerted authorities and rangers arrived to dig the boy out from what they said was about 6.5 feet of sand. After rangers and Kane County Sheriff's deputies rescued him, found he had a pulse and administered CPR, the boy was transported to a St. George hospital and then to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City. He died there on Sunday after not regaining brain activity. I don't know. It's an irrational fear of mine, and every time I see people do it to their kids where they cover them in sand and all, that is just where my mind go. Or when them a dig sand and you build it, the liquor sand, that's where my mind go, and that's never something that I want to do. And but sorry for that kid. So yeah, but it's been interesting, very, very interesting. That it's sad for them. So we're going to go around to Louisiana, and a 5-week-old baby and a man were killed in a car crash when the 38-year-old mother allegedly led police on a high-speed chase on Monday after stealing baby products from a Walmart in Louisiana. The driver, Candice Gill, and the deceased, Edward Williams of Monroe, were reportedly confronted by Walmart security for stealing, but when police arrived, the couple had left in their vehicle. Witnesses spotted Gill's car speeding down a highway and was pursued by an officer, but the suspect vehicle failed to stop, said police in a report. Eventually, the vehicle ran several red lights before crashing into another vehicle, and Gill, who fled the scene, was later found at a residence and was charged with numerous offenses, including 2 counts of manslaughter. Williams was pronounced dead at the scene, and the baby was taken to the hospital with serious injuries and later died. The police are stating that they believe the child was not properly restrained in the vehicle prior to the crash. Authorities said the 2 passengers in the other car reportedly suffered from non-life-threatening injuries. That is... oh boy. Feel it for the little pitney. Feel it for the little child. But we're going to move on to the UK. And this particular story was quite interesting. A TikTok star's pleasure turned into a real pain in the butt, literally. She says she got a sex toy stuck up there and had to get it surgically removed. The woman who lives in the UK shared her horror story and even posted the X-ray images of the vibrator inside her body. The TikToker says things got out of hand when she was using the 3-inch toy, and when she couldn't get it out, she sought medical help. She says she couldn't go to the hospital the night it happened, so she tried sleeping with the vibrator inside, but the toy continued to buzz throughout the night. As you'd imagine, that made for some serious tossing and turning. When she finally went to the hospital the next morning, she says the doctors struggled to get it out and the only option was a surgical procedure. The woman says she awoke from surgery to find her vibrator next to her in a plastic bag, and to her surprise, the thing still had some battery life. And on that note, that's where I'm going to end this week's live stream and news roundup, because sometimes the things I find in my research, I just don't know. I just don't know. This one was a little left field. It's a little bit out of left field, but I'd like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thanks for taking the time out to listen to me and to the stories that I bring you on a weekly basis. See you not next week, the week after. I am otherwise occupied next week, and I think I may be late, so I won't be doing the show next week. It'll be the week after. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. Bye.